Hi again, I'm Marilyn McKenna, and welcome to another Eat Like It Matters running tutorial. This time we're going to talk about 3 issues that are really common to people just starting a running program. They're unpleasant things that come up, and I don't want them to derail your running program right off the bat. So I thought if we could talk through some of these things, maybe you'd be able to anticipate them and have some ideas for how to deal with them if they come up. So, but before I get to those, and those 3 things are proper breathing and cramps, and then learning the difference between discomfort and pain. Before I get to those 3 things, though, let me reiterate the 4 running tips that I offered up last week, just as to reiterate those. They are, you can't be self-conscious and exercise at the same time. You just can't. You got to kick it to the curb because it will stifle your workout. Second, you need to listen. I prefer if you listen to music that you couldn't possibly sit still for. Music that you personally find energizing and motivating will make all the difference in the world, as opposed to watching TV or something, because that would be boring. People always say treadmills are boring. That's why they're boring, because you're listening and watching something boring. So don't do that. Position yourself in front of a clock with a sweeping second hand. Last week we talked about those ladders workouts where you're changing the pace every minute. If you're having to look down all the time to look at the timer on the treadmill, it's very distracting. So if you have a clock with a second hand in front of you that you can look at, then you just need to look down for a split second, whether you're doing ladders or intervals that we'll talk about eventually. So a clock with a sweeping second hand. And then, go slow, be patient. We've got all the time in the world to get better at running, so go slow. Along those lines, proper breathing. Breathe. It seems like running should be so natural, right? We did it when we were kids. We were running all over the place. I don't remember having any problems with it when I was a kid. But now, of course, you start out, your breathing is very uncomfortable. Your breathing's very labored. It feels horrible, right? First off, just know that is a completely normal reaction, that it feels uncomfortable. But really the best thing to do is to just slow the heck down when that happens. Most of us start out going too fast. But we need to slow down and get our breathing to a point where it's certainly less labored. My own technique is a little unconventional. I got my breathing under control in running because, as I was saying, I listen to music I couldn't possibly sit still for. I love it. I get so excited. I'm listening to it and I start singing. And you have to have your breathing under control when you're singing. It's kind of strange, I know, and it also is kind of how I came to my conclusion that you can't be self-conscious and exercise at the same time, because whether I'm here, it's not much of a problem, but when I'm at the gym, I still sing on the treadmill. I can't seem to help it. But anyway, so I guess my being unself-conscious gives somebody else cover if they want to do something crazy. I'd probably look like a lunatic. But that's just me. For most people, the sage advice is that if you can carry on a conversation with somebody and run at the same time, then you're probably running at a pace that's good for you. So slow down. That breathing, that labored breathing that feels very uncomfortable can lead to those painful side cramps that we get sometimes, right? You get them right along here. And yes, it hurts like heck. I know. I've certainly had them. So I know how painful they can be. But the good news is nobody ever died from a side cramp. And if you're running, you just push in on it. It helps a little bit. But the best news is that it goes away, and especially the more that you get that diaphragm muscle in condition by running, because the only conditioning that counts for anything with running is running. So as you're running very slowly, I hope, your diaphragm muscle will get stronger and the cramps will be considerably less frequent. When I got my breathing under control, I found that I was able to go much farther and with fewer problems and cramps and that kind of thing. So, which brings me to the difference between pain and discomfort. Discomfort is definitely uncomfortable, those kind of side cramps, but you can run through it. It's not something that's debilitating. It's almost, it becomes something objective that you're looking at like, oh, that doesn't feel very good. But it doesn't necessarily change your gait, which is really like the number one way to tell if the difference between pain and discomfort. I unfortunately have osteoarthritis, so I have no cartilage in my knee, so that hurts and it will never get better. I've had stress fractures and plantar fasciitis. Those things are the kinds of things that that don't get better the more you run on them. So then the difference between pain and discomfort is essentially, does it get better the more I run on it? And does it stop as soon as I stop running? Obviously, the kinds of pain that I described, those things do not get better when you stop. It still hurts. Those other things, side cramps, that type of thing, that definitely just subsides immediately as soon as you stop running because it's just discomfort. So you can kind of power through those. And then, I mean, honestly, the best breathing technique that I have, I learned not on a treadmill, not from running at all. I learned from yoga and from swimming. What I learned from yoga and swimming that I applied to running is I learned how to calm my breathing even while I was exerting myself. It sounds kind of funny, like you're giving it all you've got, and yet somehow through those other two forms of exercise, I learned how to get control of my breath and calm myself, which really just made a huge difference in running, because the more relaxed you can be, we carry a lot of tension when we're running, but the more relaxed you can be, the more you'll find you enjoy it, and you can go farther and get more out of it. So I really, because that's the goal, I want you to enjoy it. It should be fun. And it may not sound like a whole lot of fun given the things that we talked about today, but it really is fun. It really can be a whole lot of fun and very rewarding. So give it a go. If those three things have been problems for you, then try the techniques that I described and see if it helps. I want you to enjoy running. It's a ton of fun because it matters, right? Take care. Bye-bye.